Some welcome news from the government. The Green Homes Grant Scheme, which came into play in the last quarter of 2020 and immediately came under a lot of criticism from the industry because it was very hard for installers to qualify for the schemes, which meant that there were very limited amounts of installers registered for the schemes, and so access to the grants were limited. The government has updated the registration process for installers, streamlining it in an effort to try and get more installers to join the scheme. Now, this news has been welcomed by homeowners but also by landlord groups, because landlords can do a lot to uplift the green credentials of housing stock across the UK. The barrier really was accessing this Green Homes Grant funding. Now, this funding will give government money up to £5,000 and paying 2/3 of the cost of energy efficiency measures, providing a property qualifies. And this is grants in relation to things like replacing double glazing, increasing insulation in properties, and other energy efficiency measures like ground source and air source heat pumps or solar panels, depending on what's appropriate to that property. It's worth having a look at the updated rules and looking at whether your property qualifies for Green Homes Grant funding. Some measures are considered primary and will receive funding. Some secondary measures, unfortunately double glazing is considered a secondary measure, will only receive funding if it's in line with a primary measure as well. If you do have tenants in your rental property who are in receipt of government benefits, some of these grants may increase to up to £10,000. As a professional landlord, there's a big push within the industry for an increase in the quality of rental stock across the UK, and part of that is the energy efficiency of rental stock. There's been some minimum standards that have been brought in across the country for EPCs, and what we should be doing as professional landlords is targeting to get our rental properties up to at least a D, preferably a C rating. Bearing in mind the government has set some ambitious targets for housing and new build housing, especially from 2025. There are other targets around green housing and energy efficiency for 2030. And bear in mind that everything that's being pushed onto the new build industry will probably come to second-hand stock over the next 5 to 10 years as well. It's worth being ahead of the curve and taking advantage of any support measures that the government has put in place in order to make it easier to get your rental properties more energy efficient. You've also got to remember as a professional landlord that this is about retaining good quality tenants and making your property as attractive as possible, because these energy efficiency measures will also reduce the heating and running costs for the properties that your tenants are in, therefore making your properties more attractive than the less energy efficient properties as well. So take another look at the Green Homes Grant, especially if you initially looked at it and found that there were limited or no installers available in your area. This change, relaxing the rules for installers, encouraging more installers into the program, should make the scheme work more efficiently across the UK and encourage more people to take advantage of this to make their properties more energy efficient.